The already long and dubious history of fan films took a sudden left turn when Paramount Pictures and CBS sued some fans in 2016 after they had made a short film and raised $1 million online to turn it into Axanar, a feature-length prequel to an episode of the original Star Trek television series. It had already generated media attention, and at the time it could have been argued that many Trekkers were more keen on seeing Axanar on YouTube than on buying tickets to see Star Trek Beyond, the third film in producer J.J. Abrams' controversially rebooted Star Trek film franchise. While $1 million doesn't seem to mean much in Hollywood, it can go pretty far in the hands of people like those behind the Axanar project, who didn't have to contend with the usual studio politics and expense, and whose short film, made to advertise the eventual feature, already looked like $1 million. Thus, it's easy to see why Paramount got nervous and sued instead of issuing the usual cease and desist order, protecting its rights and eliminating even the remote chance of illegally unfair competition for Star Trek Beyond. Axanar was never made, of course, and the lawsuit was settled, but instead of leaving it at that, Paramount and CBS issued strict but fair guidelines for future Star Trek fan films, effectively sharing their intellectual property on their terms. The only thing Paramount might have gotten in return is some good publicity, especially after so many Trekkers took to the web to condemn the studio for its lawsuit. However, with so many fan films popping up online and even getting some attention from the press, could the studio be prepping for the day when it has to play nicer with its most talented and creative fans for mutual gain? Just about anyone in the industry would probably answer that question with a resounding no, but I think the time might be coming. The cost to make these movies is rising, even as the studio's fiscal reliance on their success is at an all-time high. For maximum effect, these movies are marketed as events with ad campaigns that saturate the market with posters on every wall and a dozen teasers and trailers per movie on every screen. One irony, however, is that demand sometimes increases with supply, and American movies fans in particular already have a role in this going back some 20 years or so, starting in the mid-90s when the internet was first starting to really take hold. Mega fans like Harry Knowles gradually inserted themselves into Hollywood's development and marketing processes through sometimes stream of consciousness blogs able to reach and influence the coveted youth audience in ways that your run-of-the-mill newspaper movie reviewer probably could not. The question isn't whether fans and movie studios will be working together, but in what way will they do so? Though most fan films remain mediocre at best, increased access to digital photography, nonlinear editing, and other resources likely means that the quality of the average fan film can probably go nowhere but up, as in up to or beyond the same quality level as the $1 million Axanar production. While circumstances will no doubt be far more complicated than I'm probably making them out to be, I believe that studios and fan filmmakers can find mutual ground in the studio's need to keep its properties in the public eye, while the only film production for which most unknown filmmakers outside of Hollywood can find suitable interest and support are the so-called fan films because of the built-in audience. Though any approach would have risky pros and cons, the best one I can think of has studios accepting submissions during a certain time every year, then choosing between 1 and 3 proposed productions of a certain size and complexity from only the most talented and prepared fan filmmakers within agreed-upon timetables based on project parameters. Fan filmmakers would then enter a sort of negative pickup arrangement in which they raise the money to make the films under studio supervision, which would consist of mandatory progress reports and joined by the studio's right to terminate the arrangement for any reason at any time. Otherwise, the results are hopefully good fan-made and fan-pleasing material with which studios can keep their properties in the public eye with little or no additional cost to them, while the cast and crew hopefully enjoy the attention and attract a few opportunities along the way. Realistically, it could be a major win-win or a complete disaster, but just as real is the fact that many great record-setting and precedent-setting accomplishments and innovations have also started out just like that.